Considered to be one of the most dangerous prisons in Florida, Federal Correctional Institution Miami has seen its fair share of controversial incidents, including helicopter escape attempts and murders. Today we dive inside the Federal Correctional Facility of Miami-Dade and take a look at some of its most infamous prisoners. Don't forget to comment down below and let me know if I miss anything at all in the video. I do read every single comment. Number 10. Sanjay Kumar. Convicted for orchestrating a massive accounting fraud scandal that rocked the tech industry, Kumar's jail sentence represents a significant chapter in corporate justice. The court found him guilty of backdating contracts and obstructing justice, actions that ultimately misled investors and tarnished the reputation of the once prominent software company CA Technologies. Orchestrating a $2.2 billion accounting fraud at the company, he was initially sentenced to 12 years in prison in 2007, but was released on January 25, 2017, serving just 10 years for good behaviour. Number 9. Lou Pearlman. Former impresario for the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, Pearlman pleaded guilty in 2008 to orchestrating a Ponzi scheme which caused investors and banks who invested to lose $300 million. Pearlman used his reputation and charisma to lure investors into the fraudulent investment program, promising high returns through fictitious investments in his companies. In reality, Pearlman was using a new investor fund to pay returns to earlier investors, a classic characteristic of a Ponzi scheme which eventually unraveled in 2008. Pearlman was exposed, leading to his arrest and subsequent conviction on charges of conspiracy, money laundering and fraud. In 2008, Lou Pearlman was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison for his role in the Ponzi scheme, and he passed away in federal custody in 2016. Number 8. Darren Sharper. A former NFL player and 5-time Pro Bowl selection, Sharper faced legal troubles due to a series of sexual assaults committed between 2013 and 2014. Sharper had a successful career as a safety for the Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings and New Orleans Saints, but became infamous for his off-field criminal activities. Sharper's modus operandi involved drugging women with substances such as zolpidem and aparazolam, rendering them incapacitated and vulnerable to sexual assault. In 2014, Sharper pleaded guilty to no contest to charges related to drugging and sexually assaulting multiple women. In 2016, he was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison as part of a plea deal that also required him to register as a sex offender, and he is not scheduled to be released until late 2028. Number 7. Mark Myrie. Known professionally as Buju Banton, Myrie is one of the most significant and well-regarded artists in Jamaican music. He found himself falling foul of the law in 2009 when he became embroiled in drugs charges. The charges stemmed from an incident in December 2009 when Buju Banton, along with 2 others, attempted to purchase cocaine from an undercover Drug Enforcement Administration informant. The artist was arrested and charged with conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine. During the trial, Banton maintained his innocence, stating that he was merely boasting and talking tough to impress the informant, but had no intention of engaging in any drug deal. Despite his defense, he was convicted on 3 of the 4 charges, including conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute cocaine, possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking offence, and using the wires to facilitate a drug trafficking offence. In 2011, Buju Banton was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison, with him being released in 2017. Number 6. Bill Campbell. Mayor of Atlanta, Georgia from 1994 to 2002, Campbell faced legal troubles unrelated to his time in office. Convicted on federal charges of tax evasion, the case centered around allegations that Campbell had failed to report income from illegal activities, including bribery. In 2006, Bill Campbell was sentenced to 30 months in prison and fined for tax evasion. The charges were not directly related to his mayoral duties, but rather focused on his personal personal financial dealings. After serving his sentence, Campbell kept a relatively low profile in the public eye, being released in 2008 after serving just 2 years. Number 5. Manuel Noa. The former dictator of Panama, Noriega was involved in various criminal activities during his time in power that lasted from 1983 to 1989. Initially a key ally of the United States, the country worked with the Central Intelligence Agency for many years. Yet after revelations about his drug trafficking and other illegal activities became apparent, relations soured. Accused of allowing Panama to become a major transshipment point for illegal narcotics, particularly cocaine, allegations of him receiving significant payments in return surfaced. In 1988, he was indicted in the United States on charges of drug trafficking, money laundering, and racketeering. In December 1989, the United States launched Operation Just Cause, an invasion of Panama to depose Noa and bring him to justice. He sought refuge in the Vatican Embassy in Panama City, but surrendered in January 1990 after enduring a US military siege on the embassy. Manuel Noa was then extradited to the United States, where he faced trial and was convicted on various charges, including drug trafficking, racketeering, and money laundering. In 1992, he was sentenced to 40 years in prison. However, his sentence was later reduced, and he served a portion of it in the United States. After completing his sentence, he was extradited to France, where he faced money laundering charges and passed away in May 2017 while still incarcerated. Number 4. Tim Gionnet. More commonly known as Baked Alaska, this American far-right media personality gained notoriety mainly through his advocacy on behalf of alt-right and white supremacist ideologies. Having been arrested on multiple charges of trespassing and assault that included using pepper spray on a bouncer in New York, Gionnet was sentenced to 30 days in jail. This, however, is not the end of his troubles. After failing to appear in court and leaving the state of Arizona, he therefore violated his bail conditions. He was apprehended by the FBI in Houston, Texas on the 15th of January 2021 and now faces charges relating to the attack on the Capitol building. He pleaded guilty to parading, demonstrating, or picketing inside the Capitol building and received a further 60 days in jail. He was released on March 31st, 2023, later stating he should never have listened to the NFT salesman, a reference to Donald Trump, who at the time of his sentence was president. Number 3. Milton Balcony. Surrounded by controversies, prominent Orthodox Jewish Rabbi Balcony was eventually involved in a criminal case related to the securities fraud and extortion. In 2010, Balcony was convicted of attempting to extort millions of dollars from the manager of a hedge fund. He allegedly threatened to reveal damaging information about the fund manager unless he donated $4 million to various institutions, including one affiliated with himself. The charges against Balcony included wire fraud and making false statements to federal agents, and this also included misappropriation of charitable funds. In 2011, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison, and additionally, he was ordered to pay restitution to the hedge fund manager. He was released from custody in 2014 after serving 4 years. Number 2. Mathew Maroma. Former hedge fund trader Maroma was involved in one of the most significant insider trading cases in the financial industry. In 2014, Maroma was convicted of insider trading related to pharmaceutical stocks, with the case centering around Martoma's activities while working at SAC Capital Advisors. Maroma was accused of using non-public information obtained from a doctor involved in clinical trials of an Alzheimer's drug to make profitable stock trades. The information allegedly helped SAC Capital avoid significant losses and generate substantial profits. In 2014, Maroma was found guilty of securities fraud and conspiracy to commit securities fraud. He was sentenced to 9 years in prison and ordered to forfeit $9.3 million in bonuses that he had received based on the illicit trades, and was released in 2021. Number 1. Michael Conahan. Former Judge Conahan was involved in the notorious Kids for Cash scandal that unfolded in Pennsylvania and came to light in the mid-2000s. Conahan was accused of receiving kickbacks from the owner and builder of a private juvenile detention facility. In return for these kickbacks, the judge directed a significant number of juveniles to be sentenced to detention, often for minor offences that would typically result in probation or other less severe penalties. The actions of Conahan were seen as a violation of the juveniles' rights, as they were denied a fair trial and were subjected to harsh and unnecessary punishments for the financial benefit of the judge involved. The scandal raised serious questions about the integrity of the juvenile justice system and the potential for corruption within the legal system. In 2011, Michael Conahan pleaded guilty to federal charges of racketeering, money laundering, mail fraud, tax evasion, and other offences. He was sentenced to 17.5 years in prison and is not due for release until 2025. Thanks for watching the top 10 most infamous prisons at Miami-Dade Jail. Please throw a like on the video to support the ongoing series, comment down below if you think I missed any information at all about anybody, and subscribe for more top list videos coming this month.